Hey there, people. It is your boy Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian, and with all the fanfare in the back, I'm currently at the European Parliament. The reason why this is going on is because today is 80 days since Germany surrendered in World War II, so there's going to be a bit of a celebration, but a lot of you guys are probably wondering right now, how the hell did I end up in the European Parliament? What am I doing here? Well, it's a very interesting story. Let's get back to Lisbon and I'll explain. Yes, people, this is not clickbait, this is not a drill. I actually got the opportunity to visit the European Parliament in Strasbourg as a content creator. Together with a group of creators from Europe, I got to visit the inside of the Parliament in Strasbourg, get a guided tour, see how the Parliament works from the inside, and even meet some of European Parliament members. And being there as a Russian was definitely a very surreal but also a very interesting experience. Now, I already know that this video is gonna trigger some people. The comments are either gonna say, what is this Russian spy doing in the House of European Democracy? Who let this guy in? Or the comments will say something like, ah yes, of course, the traitor of Russia is just visiting his Western curators. This proves that this guy was a Western shill getting paid by NATO this entire time. So let me explain it specifically for these people and also for the normal ones watching this video. You guys need to understand that first of all, it's not that serious. The real reason why I actually ended up in the European Parliament is because a fan of mine works in their web communications unit. You know, it just really helps to have fans. I had a fan in this web outreach team, so here I am. This is essentially what I'm going to do with my life from now on. I hope my subscribers and my fans create interesting opportunities for me in life so I don't have to create anything myself. So far, you know, guys, everything is going according to plan. This is apparently a pretty recent thing. The European Parliament now sometimes invites content creators. And basically, I have a great fan from Latvia who works on a team that invites these content creators to go to the Parliament. And he suggested me to the team and also emailed me with an invitation. Here I am, by the way, with Richard, who invited me to the Parliament. Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
It was my pleasure. I'm so happy. It's made me cry.
And he essentially had to convince them a little bit that I'm a normal person, which makes sense, background checks. I basically got the opportunity to get a trip to Strasbourg, to France, where I've never been before. And so I thought to myself, why not? Look, I already know there's gonna be a lot of comments from Z fart sniffers on this video saying, oh yes, of course, the traitor Western shill. He's definitely gonna be spraying leftist European narratives now. No, once again, it's not that serious and it's not how it works. The truth is that I'm actually not forced to say anything in this video. In fact, I'm not actually even required to record anything in this visit. I could just come here and not post anything at all, so no requirement from them regarding like the messaging or whatever. So no, it was not a meeting where I was given instructions of what to say by my Western curators or whatever. You know that the European Parliament has different parties and different political factions inside it, right? They don't stick to one political opinion, they actually have to be unbiased. So, you know, I thought to myself, whatever, these pro-Russian people already think that I'm being
paid to spread Western propaganda.
So why would I listen to some imaginary people that might get mad on the internet and bully myself into not taking this opportunity and just sitting on my ass here because I'm scared of stupid comments? That is not the way I want to live my life. And also, dude, there's literally like European Parliament members, like Fidesz, the YouTuber MEP from Cyprus, for example, who literally visited Moscow, Russia for the Victory Day parade, okay? So
I am a member of the European Parliament and I'm here in Russia.
If European Parliament members get to go to Russia now, don't get your panties in a twist over me going to the European Parliament. So, without further ado, let's get into my trip, talk about what visiting the European Parliament as a Russian was like, and also talk a little bit about my first impressions of France. So I basically spent 2.5 days in Strasbourg. I currently live in Lisbon, Portugal, so in order to get to Strasbourg, I first had to fly to Paris and then take a train from Paris to Strasbourg. The Paris airport was chill, although the entire time I was basically thinking that it kinda sucks that I'm in Paris, but just for a layover I can't even see anything. I've never been to Paris. Still. Guys, Paris is a complete scam. I don't see the Eiffel Tower anywhere. But yeah, I was waiting for my train at the station of Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris, and actually managed to somehow miss my train as well because I'm an idiot. Yeah, apparently it turns out that I missed my train because the station is just super long, and it actually does show you on like a screen where exactly the train is gonna stop, which I missed. So, second time's a charm, guys. Thankfully though, I got to exchange my ticket and go like an hour later. But yeah, I got to do a bit of cool sightseeing of, you know, French fields from a train window. Pretty beautiful, although most of the time I was actually locked in and editing a YouTube video for you guys, so the grind never stops. And then in the very late evening, I arrived to the Strasbourg train station. Finally, I have arrived. Had some cheeky McDonald's and then went in and checked in into the hotel that was reserved for me. The room was a little interesting. Yeah guys, check it out. This is me. Pretty regular hotel room, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty chill. Kind of a strange little bathroom area here, or washing up area right next to the beds. Very interesting. Never seen anything like this before, but I like it. Has a bed and a roof. That's all I need from these places. So yeah, I finally got some sleep, and then the next day, very early in the morning, I had to wake up because it was the first day of the visits. It's finally really happening. Honestly, I almost cannot believe it. And yes, by the way, guys, I will be attending the European Parliament wearing Adidas 3 stripes, Gopnik style. Not because I'm trying to make a point or something, literally just because I don't have any other clothes at the moment. I'm like massive right now and nothing in my wardrobe fits me except for this, so I'm basically forced today to look like a Gopnik in the European Parliament, but it is what it is, you know, repping Eastern Europe, I guess. Alright guys, let's go. My hotel was actually only like 5 minutes away walking from the European Parliament itself, so I went to the building. It was very interesting to see all these people coming into work and arriving. Alright, here we are, people. This is the Parliament building behind me. I'm just standing outside here right now waiting for the entire group to come, but still feeling like a bit of an imposter, you know, even though I literally was invited, but it is what it is. But yes, this is the place where things happen here in Europe. And then I finally met up with my group, with the organizers. I even got recognized by one of the YouTubers from the group, shoutouts to him, but then it was time to finally get inside the building, and this is actually where I kind of encountered a little bit of an issue. In order to be able to visit the building of the Parliament and also to be able to record there especially, you actually need to request some sort of clearance and kind of access, which I was actually given prior. I had to like apply through a little form, give them a photo, and they basically gave me like full access and the ability to film for like 2 days. Although there are restrictions still, I cannot film like everything. And entering the Parliament with the organizers and with the group, we're basically in a line to get our badges. I actually ran into a bit of a roadblock here, because what happened is that when our entire group made it to the counter, all of them were immediately given their badges and kind of led through inside the building, right? But there was an issue with me, because apparently when citizens of Russia or Belarus are visiting the European Parliament, some kind of background check needs to be passed, which I was told that the counter was not requested for me properly or something, and therefore, I could not proceed. You see my entire group, every other content creator that was invited for this visit, they're all from Europe, European Union citizens. I'm the only one who's from Russia. So essentially they had to send like a quick urgent email to ask for them to let me inside while the rest of my group marched on. So yes guys, bureaucratic hurdles happen even here, even when you're invited to the European Parliament as a content creator. But you know, if I'm a Western spy and a foreign agent, clearly, you know, they don't really recognize me as their own. And so essentially while the rest of my group went along and entered the building, I was there stuck at the security checkpoint for about like 20-15 minutes, and I wasn't there alone. The organizers stayed with me, and you know, they said that they did file a request for this background check, that I know what's wrong. But yeah, basically after like 15 more minutes, I was called to the deck and finally given my badge and finally allowed inside the building. So and here we are, folks. Here's a shot of me right here, just so that you guys don't think it's photoshopped. This is real. This is happening. Pretty exciting, what can I say? Now I need to find my group and actually join the guided tour, because I swear to God, I'm gonna walk into somewhere where I'm not supposed to be, and they're gonna I'm gonna cause like an international incident or something, so I better stick to my group. And everybody, by the way, both the organizers from the web communications unit who invited me, and also other content creators who were there with me, everybody said like 10,000 times that they're very sorry that this happens, that this is, you know, embarrassing for them and everything, and that they're very sorry that I had to experience this. So I was like, yeah guys, it's fine, you know, I'm used to being, you know, a considered a risk factor by everybody at this point, you know, that's just my life. But and then we finally got to go inside. There was already like a round table and a meeting starting that our group was at that I was late to because of this whole thing, but and essentially, to put it short, right, kind of a lot of what happened during this visit were these sorts of round tables and conversations. Now, once again, while the Schizo Z people might imagine that I was sitting there and being, you know, lectured on what sorts of values or whatever and talking points I'm supposed to say in my YouTube content, because this is what people think happens in these, you know, institutions, we had different conversations and round tables where we either got to meet the people who work in the web communications unit of the Parliament, essentially who manage the social media and create content for them, and we kind of discussed the issues of how an institution like the Parliament should act on social media and so on. They actually want to hear some input and like ideas and thoughts from us as content creators who like exist in the Instagram, YouTube, TikTok sphere. Because actually what's interesting is that a lot of the content creators that were in my group, there were people who talked a lot about technology, AI, and so on in their content, so pretty different from myself. I did feel out of place just a little bit, but essentially most of the conversations, especially those when we actually got to meet European Parliament members, they were actually focused on the AI Act and the Digital Services Act of the European Parliament. So for a lot of the creators in the group whose focus of their platform is actually talking about technology and AI and all these things. It was kind of more tailored to them, but for me it was still pretty interesting to, hang out and listen, and I kind of participate in the conversation a little bit as well, but I'm not exactly too knowledgeable about it. And after that, we finally got the ability to explore the building a little bit more. The building we actually visited was the Louis Weiss building. We actually had a guided tour which explained to us the story of the parliament, the story of the building. We got to go on the very top of it and check it out. Actually, what's really interesting is that the building is supposed to be like a callback to the Colosseum. It's supposed to look like half unfinished. And the idea supposedly is also that, European Union is also half unfinished or something. That's actually kind of an idea in the architecture. For example, in the middle of the building, they have this interesting construction where they essentially have this huge divide between two portions and sections of the building that are connected with bridges. And the idea is, first of all, to make it kind of like a garden, but also to make it look like a rift. There are rocks at the bottom that are meant to symbolize waves and water in motion and so on. The idea in the architecture basically was that this rift kind of symbolizes the rift that happened in Europe with the World War II and World War I, and how the European Union was trying to rebuild Europe back together. And actually what's quite interesting is that even the bridges between these two sections are not even sturdy. Down below, there's supposed to be stones that are supposed to look like water, and the bridge I'm on right now, and the bridges that you walk on here to cross different sections, they're actually a bit wobbly. Like when you stand there and there's other people walking by, it is a bit wobbly. Pretty interesting, but let's hope they keep sturdy and they keep Europe together, right? Because supposedly the idea is to symbolize that even though we're building bridges in Europe, the peace and so on is actually a very fragile thing that we should kind of worry about and always keep going, because, otherwise these bridges can go down very easily. So, also we got to see a pretty cool view of Strasbourg from up above. Really beautiful city, really green. And actually these little cute houses located right next to the parliament are supposedly, according to the guides, actually social housing, which is pretty interesting. These look like expensive real estate. So yeah, pretty cool to walk around the building and check it out, although I have to say that it's definitely a bit of a labyrinth. It's not very easy to navigate, especially if you're not very familiar with it. You can get lost pretty easily. Yes, here in the parliament, the biggest issue is getting out. Once you're in, it's a labyrinth that you cannot leave. He works here and he's not even sure where the exit is. But yeah, after a little bit of struggling, we finally found our way out of the building. And now I finally had the time to actually go outside and check out beautiful Strasbourg. And here are some of my first thoughts on being in the city and being in France. Alright, finally we're outside in Strasbourg. First impressions of France or whatever. Very beautiful, man. I mean, ironically enough, I don't know if you guys know that video of Slavoj Žižek saying that, like, this is the bridge, that's the division between, like, Mittel Europa and Balkan. This looks like the exact same place, you know what I'm saying?
This river here is the official geographical limit between Balkan and Mittel Europa.
Just the vibe. Now I can tell what he meant when he was saying it looks like Paris. This is not Paris.
What you see here is, at least in summer or in the fall, one of the nicest views of Ljubljana. It looks like Paris, green leaves, etc.
This is not Paris, but, I know nothing about France, so I'm just gonna pretend it is. Yeah, man, what can I say? It's really, really pretty. This is a side of Europe I haven't ever seen, honestly. Check it out, fellas. Beautiful houses here in the center of Strasbourg. This is also like Alsace style, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen this in pictures before. But now it's reality. Life is crazy, guys. Keep on doing it. Keep on rocking in the free world. Do. And we're coming up here to the Grand Notre Dame of Strasbourg. Holy shit, yeah, this is sick. My honest reaction to this is, we need to play Destroy Lonely if looks could kill, you know what I'm saying? Baby, I'm the fashion demon. Yeah, it just looks absolutely incredible. Gothic. Yo. Bro, this is insane, man. How did they even make this? You know what they say, men used to build stuff like this. Now they just make YouTube vlogs. Crazy. Again, guys, if looks could kill, baby, I'm a fashion demon. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful. Man, look at these stores in France, bro. What are they selling? People still living in the Middle Ages. She's just singing songs.
Yeah.
French rap, spitting absolute bars. I noticed a particular theme here, like, I mean, obviously in the parliament itself, but also in Strasbourg in general. Like, even though this tram stop, it looks like almost like the parliament built it, and you have the EU stars here on the columns and everything. Just the sheer amount of trams in the city is crazy though. I really like it. I love trams, man. What can I say? And I've taken a ride on one of these too. With these large windows, it's a vibe for sure. Like the EU insignia is everywhere here, even here like on a random cafe. You can never like really go 2 meters in the city without seeing the EU stars, you know what I'm saying? Alright fellas, entering the Europe Cafe. Very nice. Time to have a real French coffee. Here we are guys, having the most European experience of all time. In France, drinking a French coffee, having a coffee with a cigarette. I feel like Anthony Bourdain in that one picture, where he's sitting around in a cafe like a European, you know what I'm saying? I've always said that that is my life goal, to be him in that picture, and I am him in that picture, so cheers guys. What a French experience, man. But yeah, to add a little bit more collected thoughts to that, I did enjoy Strasbourg. I thought it was pretty beautiful, a pretty interesting city. Definitely a different kind and a different vibe of a European city. I've never been in anything like this. I've never been to France. I'm here in an area called Le Petit France. Literally means Little France in French, which is kind of funny. Why would you have Little France in a French city? It's France anyway. It's big France. It's France everywhere. But no, funnily enough, actually, this area right here features a lot of architecture that's actually pretty German. You know, Strasbourg supposedly was part of Germany for a pretty long time, and you know, a lot of the architecture here is basically German. But you know, I do find it really funny that the area that's called Little France is actually German. Yeah, man, I mean, you know, at these points in my life, you know, I just think, this is incredible. Like, what is my life, man? A regular kid from Chelyabinsk, now I'm here in the middle of France. Incredible. Life is good. It's very chill, very beautiful. The transport network I really liked. Also, the trams are everywhere. Very convenient to get around the city. These trams pretty much come like every 2-3 minutes. Infrastructure and everything seems pretty much on point, and it's very clean and so on. But when you're there, you definitely get the feeling that this is a bit of a kind of bureaucratic, business-focused city, if that makes sense. It's not very exciting, is what I'm saying, right? Yeah, man, what can I say about Strasbourg? That hasn't been said yet. Probably a good place to live. Seems like has, you know, good public transport, lots of bike lanes and everything, very livable. But I do get the feeling that it's probably rather boring here, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you know, as a young person, I would definitely much rather prefer to live in Lisbon than Strasbourg. It's very chill, very nice, but definitely feels like a place to retire, if that makes sense, right? Now, I don't think I got to try too much French cuisine, to be honest. Most of the stuff that I had was pretty basic. But one dish that I made sure to actually try in France and record it was snails. Are French people insane, or are snails actually good? Let's test it out. Alright guys, since I'm in France, I had to try some snails. The most French delicacy ever of all time, probably. I mean, I don't know, there's also frogs, but the snails, you know, it's like a stereotype. French people love snails. Let's try it. Looks pretty interesting. Cheers. I like it. I'm not gonna lie, it's like, you know what it tastes like? It tastes like the fat from a beef steak. Or like a mushroom, almost. No, actually I like it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not even saying this to dick eat France, you know, whatever. Not bad. Good job, guys. Good job. French people, you're onto something with this stuff, okay? It's not that weird. So yeah, that's pretty much all that happened on the first day of the visit. On the second day, it was a bit similar. Once again, I came to the Parliament building pretty early in the morning. And actually, the second day of the visit was the 8th of May, which is actually the day when Nazi Germany surrendered in World War II. In Russia, they celebrate the Victory Day on the 9th of May, but in Europe, in the European Parliament specifically, they had a special commemoration on the 8th of May, and we actually got to see the commemoration events inside the European Parliament, like inside the dome, the place where all the MEPs actually gather. And as we walked inside of this dome, the commemoration ceremony was actually already going on. They actually had some invited speakers who are World War II veterans. I believe they had one veteran from Belgium speak and 2 veterans from Poland speak. And actually what's really cool is that when you're sitting there, you actually get to have your own headphones that you put on, and on the left side of you, you can actually switch languages, which the translation is going to be on, and as far as I understand, it actually includes all the languages of all European Union countries. No Russian though, so actually when the Polish veteran spoke, I just listened to the Polish version instead of the English translation because I prefer that, but I actually studied linguistics and translation in university, so hearing how interpreters actually work was pretty cool. And then there was an orchestra that played the Anthem of Europe. What's quite funny is that a couple of days later I saw a YouTube shirt showing that apparently during this commemoration where people were standing up, the members of the German party AFD were not standing up. I wonder why. But yeah, either way, the ceremony was this great moment, and after that, we actually got to sit there for a little bit more and actually see the plenary session where the members of the parliament were actually voting on the upcoming European budget for the next few years. And then after that, the visit was pretty much over, we were done with our agenda. The second day was definitely shorter and less heavy. My guy right here. But all of us, the members of the content creator group and the organizers, you know, we all got to shake hands, say goodbye, say our thanks and stuff. And I also got a European bag of goodies as a gift. Alright guys, this is the end of our visit right here. As a final goodbye, I got a bag of European goodies. Yes, I'm now merged up. They gave me 2 flags. They also gave me a hat. EU logo right here, swag. What else we got? We got a bottle. Also, a little notebook. Oh, there's also a pen. Oh, no, a pencil. Let's see what the shirt is. I expect it to be small for me though, because, you know, everything is designed for twinks. There you go, guys. Fully equipped in European merch. I imagine you're very jealous right now. Nobody has this kind of swag, except myself. Okay, that was good. So yeah, swag. And then after that, in the evening of the same day, I got to walk around Strasbourg a little bit. And in the morning, the next day, I was already on my way back to Lisbon. First on the train, then on the plane. So yes, in the end, what can I say about my visits to the European Parliament? I would give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm only gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for that, you know, situation that happened when I was trying to get through security initially. Hurt my feelings. Not really, but otherwise, pretty good. It was really fun to me to be able to visit, to, you know, have this interesting opportunity, even though not necessarily I feel like the content of what we discussed was tailored towards me. In general, it was fun, really interesting to see, good energy, good people. Once again, it was a pretty regular content creator group visit, you know, nothing too deep. But nevertheless, I already cannot wait to see all of the conspiratorial insane comments underneath this video saying how I was really there to receive instructions of what to do on my YouTube channel, or to get paid billions from Soros or whatever. And again, honestly, just the fact that I even have to talk about this and kind of come up with excuses for my visit to the European Parliament is complete nonsense to me. Oh yes, you visited the European Parliament must mean that you like democracy, and that you like the European Union. Yes, I do like the European Union. That's the reason why I moved here, bro. There's a reason why I really appreciate the ability to move between different countries and to travel between different countries without insane border checks and visas and so on. And there's a reason why I really enjoy this interconnected network of countries where you don't even have to change your SIM card. It just works everywhere. That's how great it is, okay? And you people, you Eurosceptic motherfuckers, you wanna blow that away. You do not understand how good you truly have it, okay? And yeah, man, ultimately for me as a regular kid from Russia, this is crazy. I've never thought that I'm gonna have these kinds of opportunities ever in my life and that I'm even gonna make it to these places, kind of. So, life is crazy and you never know what you're gonna get. So, I guess that is gonna be pretty much it for today's video though. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure to slap the like button on it. And also if you guys would like to support me additionally, and that is financially, then go over to the link down in the description, buy me a coffee, or become a YouTube channel member. Thank you guys once again so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.